To preface, this happened 2 Fridays before New Year's Eve. I was at home with my friend Samantha a few hours after school ended when my dad called me to let me know that he wasn't going to come home that night. There was going to be a really shitty storm, and he said he'd rather stay at a friend's house with a few coworkers than drive 2 hours back home. My dad's a construction worker. He works at different locations for every new project. This one was far. My mom came home not too long after, drenched in rain. She talked to Sam for a bit before telling us she'd be upstairs taking a shower and filling out some paperwork from the office. Shit was thrown into the air around 8 p.m. when Sam and I heard knocking on the door. It was already weird because who the fuck is even out in this weather? It was pouring rain and the streets looked like an actual stream of piss. I went down to the door, dragging Sam with me, only to be greeted by nothing. We were looking out the door for a little under 5 seconds when we heard the knocking again. Now this is when the shit that was thrown into the air reached and hit the fan. Sam and I instantly pissed ourselves when we realized someone was knocking on my back door leading to the backyard. We quietly went upstairs to my mom's room, finding her asleep, not even changed out of her work clothes. I woke her up immediately and told her someone was in our backyard. This obviously caused alarm, and seeing her so freaked out, it freaked Sam out and I even more. This might not sound as scary to you, but being home without my dad in the house was scary enough on its own. Mom went down into the kitchen with us trailing not even 2 feet behind her, and she pulled out her rolling pin. Before we could reach the door, the knocking stopped. Mom reached over and pulled the curtain back. All Sammy and Mom saw was pitch black, but I swear I saw someone standing a few feet away from the door. Maybe it was because I was the only one of us facing its direction, but it was tall as fuck, like 7 feet, maybe over. That's all I could tell you because that's all I saw of it. It was probably just one of the tree branches. It's really windy out there, Mom suggested. I could tell Sammy wasn't too sure, and I knew damn well it wasn't a tree branch. But why freak them out? I mean, I know now I should have told them so we could have left, but I kept quiet for their sake. About an hour after that, Mom decided to go to the department store down the street to pick up some dinner and left both of us at home. It was only about 5 minutes later when we heard the knocking again. I quickly felt uneasy. It could be your mom? Sam suggested. I went down to the door and asked who it was. The following 5 seconds of silence were the longest 5 seconds of my life. Then I heard someone say, "It's me." It was Mom, but at the same time, I felt like it wasn't. Looking back now, I realized her voice sounded like it was lacking all human characteristics. It wasn't playful, nor was it frustrated at how long we were keeping her in the rain. It sounded like she didn't even know what emotions were. I opened the door without unlocking the chain, and I was greeted by Mom. Sam and I let her in, but she came in without any bags. She sat down on the couch for a few minutes, looking around. She was so fucked up. She seemed glitchy, like her actions weren't flowing smoothly, if that makes sense. "Mom, are you okay? You don't seem right." Her eyes looked at me before the rest of her face turned. It was just a long walk. Cold. Outside. Raining. She kept listing words and phrases that made little sense. I was getting more uneasy by the second, but I think Sam was just glad we weren't home alone anymore. The scariest thing that happened that night happened during one of Mom's ramblings. Sammy had asked her what we were having for dinner, and she started listing foods that we didn't even have. Halfway through her rant, I received a text from Mom. It read, "Do you girls want lasagna? Ask Sammy what she wants. Take your time deciding. It's so warm in here." My heart instantly dropped. Mom was right in front of me, talking about fish fingers. Sam and whatever was pretending to be mom directed their attention to me. I was panting, and according to Sam, all color had drained from my face. Who is it? Mom's pretender asked. Wrong number. I quickly flashed a smile. You look tired, Mom. Do you want to go to bed? Sam and I will make dinner. I think I just need a bath. We nodded, and she stood up and made her way to the stairs. She was at the bottom of the stairs when I pulled out my phone to take a photo. I looked down at it for 1 second to cancel the 20% remaining notification, but when I looked back up, Mom was already at the top step. I can't stress this enough. The time in which I looked at my phone and looked back up was impossible for someone to walk 13 steps. I ran back to Sammy and waited until we both heard the water in the bathroom running. Sam, my mom texted me. Sam replied puzzled. What? When that thing was talking to us, my mom texted me. She started freaking out and thinking for reasons. Sam replied, visibly shaken. Maybe she meant to send the text earlier, but it only got delivered now? It seemed valid. Apple is always glitchy like that, but we decided to call her anyways just to make sure. Just as the phone started ringing, someone knocked on the door. We went to see who it was. Sammy was about to open it, but I put my hand in front of her. I was so terrified at this point that I was in tears. Sammy stared at me in confusion. Hey, Mom? I said into the phone. I was shaking, and as soon as Sammy heard me say that, she looked like she was about to throw up. Open the door, it's freezing out here, said Mom from the outside. I sighed in relief and threw the door open. Mom was standing there with the phone pressed to her ear and her shopping bags around her feet. We quickly explained what was happening, and it took Mom 2 minutes of hearing the story for her to climb up the stairs and walk towards the bathroom. She literally kicked the door open and found the tub almost filled to the rim. The window was also open and the fly screen was torn. The rest of the night consisted of us trying to get over what happened. We ended up sleeping together in my mom's room, and my dad came home early next morning. I only started researching a few days ago, and I found out that what we dealt with on the night in question must have been the Goatman.